How many people here have dreamed of one day owning your very own dog? Imagine the day comes where you're ready to finally adopt your very first puppy. You're excited, you head down to your local pet shop, you pick out a puppy, and you absolutely fall in love with this puppy. You're excited, you bring the puppy home, and within a few weeks you seem to notice that the puppy's struggling a little bit. They may have some physical ailments, they may have some anxiety, and you're not exactly sure where it came from because you just got this puppy and seemed to be perfectly happy at the store. Chances are your puppy came from a puppy mill, and this is a sad reality that thousands of families face across the United States every single year. According to the Humane World for Animals, there's an estimated 500,000 dogs and puppies currently being kept in puppy mills, being used solely for breeding purposes. Today I'm going to talk to you about puppy mills, what they are, the living conditions seen in puppy mills, and the impact puppy mills have on dogs and their owners. Now that I've given you a brief overview of what my speech will be about, let's get into the basics. What is a puppy mill? According to the ASPCA, a puppy mill is a commercial breeding facility used to breed dogs that focuses on profit over welfare. Now, these facilities solely care about turning a profit. So they usually force dogs to repeatedly have litters, multiple litters a year sometimes, just so that they can take these dogs' puppies and sell them to local pet stores or even ship them across the country. There's an estimated 10,000 active puppy mills currently in the United States. And from these puppy mills, there's an estimated 2 million puppies that are annually being shipped across the country, sold to different pet stores, and then in turn being sold to local families who are ready to add a puppy to their family. Now, these puppy mills are focusing on profit over welfare. And what does that mean for their living conditions? Let's talk about it. Puppy mills often look like this. Many dogs shoved into small cages in unsanitary conditions. This can usually mean feces and urine being spread around the cage, multiple dogs in these cramped conditions, with limited interaction in veterinary care. So people don't come in and play with these dogs or talk to them. They're usually shoved in a cage for over 20 hours a day, and they're only there to have more puppies. So they're being used for breeding, they're being used to produce puppies, and then these puppies are being taken and sold. These dogs also get inadequate amounts of food and water. They're not being given the proper nutrients that they need to grow and thrive. So they're being shoved into small cages, they're not getting enough food and water, they're not getting access to veterinary care because that would cost money. And the goal of a puppy mill is to create profit. They don't want to spend any money on veterinary bills or anything like that, so they kind of just put the dogs in the cages, have them have puppies, take the puppies, and then force them to do it all over again. These dogs don't really live a good life. Let's talk about the impact of puppies that are born into puppy mills and dogs that are currently living in puppy mills, and what that looks like for dogs and their humans. Families head to their local pet store and they unknowingly purchase a sick puppy from the store. Now they bring that puppy home, and within a few weeks it starts to get seriously ill. Now they're faced with the financial hardship of spending thousands of dollars to try to bring this puppy back into good health. And it's not necessarily something that people are prepared for. It's a burden for the family and the dog, and it's not something that everybody can afford. And oftentimes these sick dogs are just returned back to the store, and they're just left to sit at the store, or they even go back to the puppy mill where they came from to produce more puppies. Now, the other than physical and financial burdens that come from these puppy mills, there's also mental issues that happen with these dogs, including anxiety and aggression that can arise. And it's because they were born into these terrible conditions to no fault of their own. It's just they were born into these terrible conditions, and now they have anxiety. And dogs being rescued from these puppy mills can take months to years to rehabilitate, to help them live a normal, happy life. And it's the sad truth of puppy mills. Now that we've talked about the impact of puppy mills, I want to go over the basics of this speech and what I want you to take away from it. What is a puppy mill? A breeding facility that prioritizes profit over welfare. These facilities simply do not care about these dogs. All they care about is making a quick dollar and producing puppies, selling them, and then producing more puppies. The common conditions seen in these facilities: small cages, poor sanitization, no access to veterinary care, and stuck in a cage for over 20 hours a day. This is an example of some puppies that were rescued from a puppy mill in North Carolina. They're filthy, they look scared, and they were rescued because there was over 100 dogs in this puppy mill in North Carolina, this one was actually in a home. So they're just terrible conditions. And I want you to remember the impact of puppy mills: the financial hardship, the physical ailments that dogs often gain from being in puppy mills, parasites, infections, mental illnesses, whether it's anxiety or aggression that these dogs face to no fault of their own. Next time you pass by a puppy store, I want you to think about this speech, and I want you to remember that puppy mills focus on profit over welfare. There's so many resources that you can look at, whether it's through the ASPCA website, and you can actually see local pet stores and pet shops across the country that knowingly purchase dogs from puppy mills, that knowingly take these dogs, whether they're sick, and they use these dogs just to turn a profit. I want you to understand the impact of puppy mills, and I want you to consider the next time that you walk by a puppy store, the next time that you're going to shop for or adopt a dog. I want you to remember this speech, and I want you to think about doing your research on puppy mills and how they affect people. Thank you very much.